Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to this morning's service. I know the answer to this question already. Do we have any first-time people, guests who have come here for the first time? Would you like to stand up and introduce yourselves?
My name is Mikame, and I'm here for the first time.
Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Kim, first time from Sakamoto, and it's an honor.
Cool.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming. Welcome. Just a reminder that no food or drinks allowed in the Hondo. Please turn off your cell phones or put them on silent. So we'll begin this morning's service with Sambujo on page 24 in the large service book. Now, you'll see there's 3 books, so the large, big, thick one. So page 24, yes. And Sambujo is sort of like a welcoming chant that we do in our School of Buddhism, Sect of Buddhism. And that'll be followed by sutra chanting Juseige on page 23 in the small book, or 93 in the large book. Again, 93 in the large book. So if you're using your large book, it's 24 for Sambujo and 93 for Juseige. And then please remain standing for the 3 treasures, which is on page 3 in the small Dharma School service book. Okay, I got ahead of myself. We're going to have a song now. Please write for Gatha, Amida's Paradise on page 36 in this book. And then we'll have the Three Treasures on page 3 in the Dharma School Service book, followed by a Dharma talk by my Minister's Assistant, Michael Jones.
On page 3 of this book, The Three Treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony and a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. It's good to see all of you. And you can tell now that I'm an instrumentalist, not a vocalist, so singing along is more painful for me than for you, believe it or not. So, please join me in Gassho. For the sake of all beings, I will open the Dharma store and universally bestow its treasure of virtue upon them. Among the multitude of beings, I will always preach the Dharma with a lion's roar. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. So some of you may have recognized that. That's actually the 8th verse of the Juseige that we just chanted, only in English. And it's also where we get the plaque that's in the center of our own Naijin, Kai Hozo, open the Dharma storehouse. But in any case, I'm happy to see all of you here. I'm happy to have you here. And for those online, thank you for joining us. And for those of you seeing this later on the recording, thank you for taking that effort. You know, the last time I was here, we talked about happiness and the concept of being happier. I made the statement, or rather I quoted it, that you can never be happier than happy. You're either happy or you're not. Even the American Declaration of Independence states that all men are created equal and that they are endowed with a certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm sure that most of us by now have realized that though the Declaration states that we have the right to pursue happiness, it contains no guarantees or provisions stating that we will achieve that goal. Personally, I don't lean much on the Declaration for keys to happiness. I have found a much more common and down-home key to be much more useful. You'll probably know this as the principle of happy wife, happy life. It's not foolproof, but it's worked fairly well for me. If happiness is such an elusive goal, then what is it that gives our life purpose and meaning? The Stoics believed that the purpose of life was to live a flourishing, well-lived, and happy life. The Dalai Lama is quoted as saying, "I believe the very purpose of life is to be happy. From the very core of our being, we desire contentment." Even with these reassurances over the ages that the purposes of life is happiness, is that it? Have we asked ourselves the right question? Is the pursuit and eventual attainment of happiness what gives us purpose? Is there even a more basic question that we need to ask? That is, what is a life worth living? Most people who know me know that I love to read. And I get a lot of my book recommendations from the podcast that I listen to. When you pick a book that you might want to buy or borrow, you probably look for a familiar author, an interesting title, a recommendation from a trusted source on the jacket, or you look through the table of contents and see what might interest you. But what would your reaction be to a book where the introduction carries the title, "This book might wreck your life"? Well, my reaction was to pick it up and read it. The actual title of the book is Life Worth Living, A Guide to What Matters Most. It was written by 3 Yale professors who together facilitate a program at Yale called Life Worth Living. I'd like to look at a few of the key points raised in the book. Although these 3 are Christian theologians, they do a great job of not making the book about religion, and they also do a surprisingly good job of representing Buddhist and Confucian thought. They even have a strikingly clear explanation of the concept of no self that I will be leveraging for the future. I want to touch on some of the key questions they ask and see how it resonates with the Dharma. Early in the book, the authors pose the question, what is worth wanting? To help answer that question, they explain that they see 4 levels of how we exist in the world, and these 4 levels are grouped into reflexive and reflective modes of living. Think of these as layers. The more we delve into ourselves, the deeper we go into these 4 layers. On the top layer, the surface layer, only that surface layer is called reflexive. That is, they call it autopilot. We operate by reflex, that is, blind habit. We do things because we've always done them. We do things a certain way because that's always how we've done them. There's no harm in operating in this way, and in fact, it's our steady state, living the lives of shared humanity, as they put it. We're in the flow. All is good, and there's no reason to change. We believe that we are living a life that yields what we really want. And for many, there's nothing wrong with living on this level indefinitely. However, If we don't dig into what we really want, how can we be certain? Socrates is credited with the statement, "The unexamined life is not worth living." So let's keep examining. That brings us to the other three layers in the model, and these are all the reflective layers. These are modes of operation that begin with us taking a hard look at what we really want. The Dharma encourages us to see the world as it really is. How can we possibly do that if we live a life on autopilot, just doing what we've always done in the same manner that we've always done it? The second layer of the model, and the first of the reflective, is called effectiveness. Here we ask ourselves, how can I get more of what I want? But notice that this is not reflecting on the appropriateness of what I want. It's just focused on getting more of it. This mode of living can be very helpful if you're feeling stuck in the this mode of living can be very helpful if you're feeling stuck in the autopilot mode. You could look at this as a way to put the into happy. That is, how can I be happier? Is the trap in this process beginning to make a little sense? Remember when we talked about last time, you can't be any happier than happy? Once we begin to see the weakness in the effectiveness, or as I would like to call it, the I want more model, we can move into the third layer of self-awareness. This is another part of the reflective process. And it's here that we ask ourselves, what do I really want? Where do I really want to go? This is where we can begin to establish a vision for what we want out of life, what we want in life, and who we really want to be. One of the pitfalls of this mode of life is that you may come to know and realize some things that will require significant change in your life. What if what you really want from life is not possible with your current job? What if you cannot be the kind of person that you want to be with your current circle of friends? What if the kind of life that you want does not mesh well with that of your spouse or significant other? Remember that warning in the book that this might wreck your life? Now the range of possibilities that comes from your reflection and establishing a new vision for your life are enormous. It could be as simple as switching from a job working for a for-profit company to working for a non-profit company. It could involve the elimination of self-destructive habits, smoking, drinking, or gambling. But what if this self-reflection reveals that you are living your life as someone other than who you really are? People in the LGBTQ+ community face this challenge every day in our society. A woman trapped in a man's body, a gay or lesbian hiding in plain sight as straight so as not to suffer the scorn of family, friends, community, employer, or military unit. As you can see, some changes are confined to the self, while others impact or are impacted by the broader community around you. The authors note that this self-awareness layer can be a very lonely place. Our vision of the good life, or at least a better life than the current, is our vision alone. Our vision may not align with the vision of those we work for, care for, or live with. However, if we want to live with integrity, live life as we truly are, we see life as it truly is, then we must be willing to change. The final layer of our model is self-transcendence. The key word in this reflection is truth. And the question that we must ask ourselves is, what is worth wanting? To get to the truth here, we can leverage our beliefs, our values, our experiences, our teachers, and what we've learned through life. The Dharma is there for us at this level. We've all heard variations of the questions, what would Buddha do? But that's not really the right question. We are not the Buddha, or even a Buddha yet. We're not living in the time and context of the historical Buddha, or Shinran, or Renya, but the Dharma is still there for us. It's still here, ready for us. We need to see the world as it really is. We need to understand ourselves as we truly are. There is no independent me. Without the causes and conditions that led to my being here and now, I wouldn't be standing before you. We are all interconnected. We are all members of a sangha, a family, a community, a culture, a nation, and the world. Just as the action of others impact me, my actions impact those around me, and sometimes those far away from me. Our attachments lead to our suffering. Whether those attachments come in the form of material things, ideas, people, or our true identity, they are still attachments, and when they change, suffering may result. Our model is not yet done with us. Once we have figured out the truth, once we have transcended from who we thought we were to who we believe we are, then this influences the vision that we have for life, a life worth living. Our self-awareness, now in full bloom, we can then determine how we can get what we want in order for us to effectively realize our vision. And once we have become more purposeful in realizing our vision, our life can once again enjoy the serenity of that very top layer of our model, the autopilot layer, the reflexive layer, which has us doing what we do because it is what we do. In a brief talk like this, we can't explore all the depths and nuances of this model. For some, reflecting on just a single aspect of their life may seem like an insurmountable task. There's no shame in seeking help when life overwhelms us. This can be in the form of a friend who will just listen, a mentor who has gone through something similar, one of our ministers who can help us think through things, or more therapeutic help to help us through even the most difficult of challenges. As Buddhists, we seek to understand the way things really are. We use this to understand the nature of our suffering and find our way through it. As a sangha, we are here to help in any way we can, whether through outreach, specialized support, or other approaches. As a community, we want to make sure that everyone feels safe in being here and knows that this is a place of welcoming and security. I've only scratched the surface of what this book I mentioned has to offer. We didn't even cover a full chapter. If your interest is piqued by the small sampling here, I encourage you to pick up a copy of the book, Life Worth Living, A Guide to What Matters Most, and read the whole thing. But do heed the warning at the beginning. Part of what we hope to accomplish here at the Betsuin is to help everyone understand that theirs is a life worth living. If you're troubled by one or more aspects in your life, then there are ways to work through them. The Dharma is part of the answer. The ministers are part of the answer. The Sangha is part of the answer. But the truth is, the answer already lives within you. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Michael, for that very nice talk and really kind of advice to how we can use the teachings to kind of help live our life and deal with issues that come up. For the newcomers, we say Namo Amida Butsu a lot in services. Namo Amida Butsu is I take refuge in Buddha. And when we chanted, we said Namanda, Namamda. That's the same thing. It's just kind of a shortened version of Namo Amida Butsu. And some things you heard in the service, like the three treasures, right? Buddha is obvious. Buddha is Buddha. Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, Dharma is the teachings of the Buddha, and the Sangha is actually the community, Buddhist community. Everybody here is part of the Sangha. Sangha is anybody who's just associated with the church or follow the teachings of the Buddha. Please rise now for Gatha Ondokusan II on page 76 in the small Dharma School service book. Are there any announcements?
Hi, good morning. I'm Larry Honda, president of the Betsuin, and this is in reference to our efforts to aid the victims of the Maui wildfires. So with discussions with people on the board and members of the Sangha, we've decided to do a series of things. We're still in discussion with some of them, but I can relay what we're currently doing. So one thing is in the next Dharma newsletter that's coming out in September in a week or two, you'll see a flyer to donate to the Disaster Relief Fund. So if you don't know, we have a Betsuin Disaster Relief Fund. We collect funds through there, and the committee decides who, there's so many disasters right now, it's impossible to pick, but they choose which disasters to donate funds to. And so they will be collecting funds to donate for the Maui Relief Fund. The second thing is we're going to hold a series of fundraisers for various charities to help with that effort. And so Gwen Aso, one of our Sangha members, came up with the idea of holding a plate lunch fundraiser. So we're going to do that, and this is only 2 weeks away, so this is really quick. So we're going to do it on Sunday, September 3rd, and it's going to be just a takeout only. So it's just going to be pickup. You can either walk up and pick it up, or we're going to have a drive-through lane in front of the gym. And so this plate lunch is going to include something called chicken heka, which I haven't had before, and I've had a lot of Hawaiian food and I haven't had it before. But it's sort of like a Hawaii-style sukiyaki. So it's chicken with a bunch of vegetables and sukiyaki-type sauce. A side of Spam, rice, mac salad, and there'll be a cookie. There'll also be a vegetarian option, so it'll be a veggie heka, and instead of Spam, you'll be getting tofu. We're going to be selling this for $20. This is going to go out, I think, in an email blast today or tomorrow, and it's also going to be mailed to those of our members who don't have email. So have a look out for that. You'll also be receiving in that email blast, in that letter, an article. Yeah, I wrote another article about the Maui relief situation, and so that will include this information. We're also planning, I think, another fundraiser in October. I'll let you read that to get the details there, because I think I'll butcher it if I try to do it from memory. And then there are also a couple articles. One that was obtained from one of our Sangha members, Todd Sudama, from a family that used to, maybe they still do, run the Lahaina Honganji, which, as you know, burned down. And the other one is from another minister in a different part of Maui who Rinban Sakamoto had a conversation with recently. So be on the lookout for that. Again, thank you for all of you who have donated already. I mean, it's kind of who we are. It's what we do, right? So thank you.
Me again. The Dharma study class is going to start up again in September, September 12th, and then the following second and fourth Tuesdays of the month for September, October, and November. We probably won't have classes in December because I'm going to be away during December. But if you have not gotten the emails or calendar invitations and you want to attend, please let me know. They just went out today. We will be covering a variety of topics. There's no one single text that we'll be using, and the format will continue to be a brief reading that you get ahead of time, and then we'll go over that reading and then have a discussion. And we meet on Tuesday, the second and fourth Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. via Zoom. We will look into having a quarterly in-person meeting. That seems to be a popular selection, so we'll look into that as well. So I haven't planned that out yet. So if you have any questions, please see me. Thanks.
So for those of you who don't know about the Maui wildfire, there were 3 Buddhist temples either completely destroyed or very, very seriously damaged, including the Lahaina Honganji, which is our sect of Buddhism, the Hondo, the temple, the minister's house burned down. the Nokosudo, the columbarium, actually survived, and the statue of Shinran. The Shinran is the founder of our sect. The statue of Shinran survived. So the other two temples that were, I think, basically completely destroyed, the Jodoshu temple, which if you've been to Lahaina, there's a big statue of Buddha seated. The statue of Buddha survived, but pretty much everything else was destroyed. And there's a Shingon sect temple that was also destroyed. And there are many, many opportunities or ways you can donate. On the Buddhist Churches of America website, there's a page, I believe, on our website. I think there's some information. Larry mentioned the fundraisers that we have planned. There's actually another fundraiser in Japantown that's happening next Saturday. It's a benefit ukulele performance for Maui Strong, featuring the Wesley Methodist Church's ukulele band. This is being held at Roy Station, which is just down the street. It's going to be, again, on Saturday from 10 until noon. There will be prizes donated by Japantown businesses. 100% of the proceeds will be donated to Hawaii Community Foundation, Maui Strong. With that, this will conclude today's service. Please join me in Gassho on reciting Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please come and do a shoko. There are some light refreshments outside in the garden. Please join us for refreshments in the garden afterwards.